You weren't supposed to find this video today, and that's exactly why you must listen closely. Because what I'm about to show you will change how you move through people, power, and your own life. It will reveal the hidden price you pay every time you choose to be good without a strategy. So pause whatever you're doing and lean in. The cost of unguarded kindness is higher than you imagine, and once you see the ledger, you'll either protect yourself or keep paying with your time, dignity, and future. This is not a morality lesson, and it is not praise for cruelty. This is a surgical unraveling of human systems using 12 strategic principles drawn from Machiavelli's cold clarity, modern psychology, and brutal social reality, so you can keep your heart and not lose your life to other people's advantage. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll not only understand why goodness destroys power in certain contexts, you'll learn how to be humane and strategic at the same time, which is the real rare strength. And you'll leave with 3 actions you can apply today to stop bleeding value and start building a life where generosity becomes a choice, not a trap. You think goodness is neutral, maybe even virtuous, maybe the highest truth, but society that praises selflessness often quietly rewards the merciless. It elevates a visible kindness and punishes a strategic silence. And Machiavelli wrote about this 5 centuries ago not to teach villainy, but to describe what reality does when people have to choose between survival and sentiment. He watched princes and men. He observed how a single act of kindness can be turned into leverage. How a reputation for mercy can be converted into an invitation. And how an open hand becomes a rope when the world doesn't share your ethics. And this isn't poetic pessimism. It's cause and effect. You give without boundary. Others notice the supply and they begin to take it for granted. They reallocate your generosity into their own advantage. And one day you wonder why you are exhausted and indebted to people who never lifted a finger for you. The first principle is simple and brutal. Generosity without rules becomes currency for others, not for you. And when you read Machiavelli's chapters on the use of cruelty and mercy, he isn't telling you to be cruel. He's warning that unchecked mercy invites exploitation. Generosity must be coded with limits, so the world can't tax it. The second principle, reputation is a tool, not a virtue. People will test you until your boundaries prove inevitable. And if your reputation is only kindness, the market of human behavior will price you cheap. High-value reputation mixes warmth with consequences. The third principle, predictability kills leverage. A kind person who is always kind is easy to model, and therefore easy to manipulate. So unpredictability calibrated with integrity is your defense. Machiavelli understood that a prince who is too consistent in softness is prey. The fourth principle, public virtue can be a public weakness. When your magnanimity is visible and unguarded, it becomes an exploitable performance. The modern parallel is social media virtue that signals generosity, but leaves the giver exposed to those who only need the signal. Weaponized discretion. The fifth principle, reciprocity is not automatic. Psychology shows people will often choose the path of least resistance. They accept kindness and do not repay unless systems demand it. And Machiavelli's lesson is structural. Build systems that demand reciprocation or remove your availability. The sixth principle, emotional labor becomes leverage for others when unpaid. Your patience, your listening, your quiet care. These are invisible currencies that colleagues, partners, and family will withdraw interest on unless you put them under contract with expectations. The seventh principle, mercy without selectivity erodes authority. A leader who spares everyone loses the authority to punish when needed, and thus cannot protect the people who rely on them. Machiavelli recommended calculating mercy to maintain order. Translated into modern life, this means spare strategically, not by default. The eighth principle, kindness without boundaries creates dependency, and dependency is not loyalty. It is a liability. People who depend on your softness will fail when you are gone and will blame you when you enforce boundaries. Change the terms of help into growth opportunities or paid exchange. The ninth principle, moral exceptionalism is a social trap. If you act as the only consistently good actor, you become the moral bank others draw on. They will push your limits because they expect replenishment. The political lesson is to diversify your moral capital so you're not drained by a single relationship. The 10th principle, emotional transparency is tactical suicide. When you show all your motives, you allow people to weaponize them. Machiavelli advised rulers to conceal their full intentions. You could be honest without revealing the architecture of your heart. Privacy is a strategic asset. The 11th principle, appearance is half the battle. The world rarely judges your intention. It judges your impact and how you appear within systems of power. If you are kind but appear weak, you'll be treated as both kind and weak. Discipline your presence. And the 12th principle, the deepest. The cost of goodness is not just personal drain. It's a forfeiture choice. Every time you reflexively sacrifice, you buy someone else's future with your freedom. The most dangerous effect is slow. Over years, a person who always yields finds their horizons narrowed, their agency reduced, their options taxed by other people's expectations. Now breathe, because this is heavy, and I know you feel that tautness in your ribs when truth lands. And before you think I'm telling you to harden into a monster, understand that these 12 principles are not a license of cruelty. They are a map to keep your kindness effective and sustainable. Imagine generosity that doesn't bankrupt you. Imagine helping others while preserving your dignity. Imagine being the person who can be trusted because your boundaries are clear, not because you were always available. Let's go through some modern parallels. So this isn't theoretical. The entrepreneur who gives away free work and then wonders why no one hires him is obeying the first principle. The partner who always forgives without consequence ends up single because the other party never needed change. The manager who takes up everyone's slack is the company's unpaid martyr until the firm reorganizes without them. In each case, the person offered goodness and the system converted it into expectation. Now think about social systems, governments, institutions, families. All of them reward those who make sacrifices for the system while erasing the costs. Machiavelli observed that leaders who made symbolic generosity without structural safeguards were replaced by those who built robust rules. This is not theory. It's structural psychology mixed with sociology. Kindness without architecture becomes theft of one's own future. So what do you do with this knowledge? First, code your generosity. Create explicit rules around help, time-limited offers, clear expectations, reciprocity clauses, even in personal life. I will help you if you commit to this change by that date, and watch how respect replaces taking. Second, manage your reputation as an instrument. Train people to associate you not only with kindness but with consequence. Show mercy in private. Enforce boundaries in public. The mix creates unpredictability that prevents exploitation. Third, measure your margins. Generosity must fit within a ledger: time, money, energy, attention. If you never check your balance, you'll overdraft. Fourth, practice strategic silence. The person who must always explain is vulnerable. Learn to refuse the need to justify your generosity and let your actions speak. Silence makes your generosity selective. Fifth, fund reciprocity systems. If you help, attach a pathway for others to contribute back. Mentorship that lead to paid work. Favor exchange for a skill, emotional labor reciprocated through boundaries or services. Sixth, surround yourself with those who value integrity over free benefits. Communities that require contribution limit freeloading. Seventh, redefine kindness as strength and narrative. When you act, present it as a deliberate strategy, so others see it as principle, not weakness. Eighth, train your emotional muscles. The more you can tolerate discomfort, the less you will yield to manipulative asks that pose as need. Ninth, teach through consequence. Withdraw access predictably when others take advantage. Consistent, quiet consequences rewire the social economy around you. 10th, institutionalize your generosity where possible. Create structures, contracts, and rules that preserve dignity and avoid ad hoc giving. 11th, wear discretion as armor. The less you reveal, the less people can exploit your vulnerabilities. 12th and finally, commit to a strategic morality. Keep your compassion, but apply it where it creates growth and dignity, not dependency and erosion. Understand how radical this feels. You remain generous, but now your generosity returns value rather than evaporates. That's the alchemy Machiavelli hints at. Transform softness into sustainable strength. Now, 3 clear takeaways I want you to hold like a blade. 1. Set rules for your generosity. If you don't define the terms, others will. 2. Mix warmth with consequence. Kindness without consequences is a door left unlocked for people who will not care for the house. 3. Design systems of reciprocity. Generosity gains respect when it's part of fair exchange, not a free-for-all. A warning. Knowledge without application is almost as dangerous as ignorance. When you recognize the trap of goodness and do nothing, you become more bitter than before, because you now see your exploitation but remain passive. That bitter awareness will rot into cynicism if you do not convert into structural action. So choose to act. And an open-ended thought to leave you with. What if your greatest compassion was to stop being drained by others so you could become powerful enough to help more people at scale? Because real power allows you to end suffering for many, not to survive for one. Machiavelli's shadow is useful when it helps you build institutions of care that cannot be bribed or exhausted. If this video moved you, don't disappear. Like it, comment the one principle that stung the most, share this with a person who needs to hear why their goodness is costing them, and subscribe to Modest Authentique, dark psychology for more truths that cut and tools that heal. And as a final exercise before you go, write these short affirmations in the comments now. I set rules for my generosity. I mix warmth with consequence. I design reciprocity systems, because when you say it, you start to live it. And when you live it, you stop being quietly consumed.